Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I am Ray.
And I'm Evy.
And Evy, what are we looking at today?
We are um, looking at Hancock, which is Cherie's, what's her name?
Oh, Charlize
Charlize.
Theron.
Sure.
Charlize
Yeah,
Theron. Yeah,
yeah.
her name is pronounced. She's very like this is not how you say it. I've always called her Theron, but it's Theron. It's
Hmm.
anyway, emphasis on the th. Theron.
Right.
But anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's about a man and woman who are sort of aliens. I was kind of that one I couldn't believe, lovers trying to get together, yet they can't uh because of because of love. I don't understand that, but I I thought it was very funny. I thought it was very funny. It touched my heart. Jason Bateman was good to be there.
Mhm.
He kind of did a bit of funny stuff too, which was amazing. I'd give it an 8 actually.
All right. Well, I remember them from like they were in Arrested Development. That's how Charlize and him met, and she had her South
Hmm.
African accent in that one.
Hmm.
And Will Smith, well, they've had a history too because they started together in Legend of Baggy Vance.
Oh, okay.
So they have it. So Charlize and Will have a chemistry, sort of like like a Will and Margot Robbie, how they've done like two
Hmm.
or three movies together in the past. Same thing with Charlize. So that's kind of nice.
Hmm.
And in interviews, they were saying how they really got along and connected in Legend of Bagger Vance. So when they
Hmm.
did this movie, it was just like right from the it left off where they left where they take off, or they left right where they took off.
Right. Okay.
Um, what did you think about because you mentioned this before, you were saying it's kind of a tragedy and sort of sad, like
Yeah.
like what do you mean when you feel sad, like what is it about this like because it's marketed as a comedy, so like is it did they do a right balance, or like how were you describing the sadness?
That they love each other and they were together,
Right.
but they can't. So they want each other, but they can't get together, and I think that was really sad.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, I like that. I because it was weird because I was rooting for Ray because that's the well, it gives you one premise. It deposits the notion that she's a happily married suburban like housewife. Is she a housewife? She works. She works.
Yeah, she does. I
Yeah.
think so.
And and then then you realize there is something to it. I mean, they were an item before,
Hmm.
in the past life. You should mention too, like Hancock has amnesia, so like he has no idea of his past life.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's true.
we have to, like the film deposits the notion that uh before he meets Mary, which is the Charlize Theron's
Hmm.
character, he was just Hancock. It was nothing before that. I mean, for the last 80
Right.
years, because he's immortal, for the last 80 years, he's just been trying to like figure out who he is, where he came
Hmm.
from.
Right.
And then when they actually meet, it's for him, it's like for the first time. So there's no, and on his side, there's no feeling of loss. So like when we're watching the movie, we're seeing it from his lens. We're seeing it like, oh, I have this tragic event, this sadness,
Hmm.
like, and we learn how he got his name through that.
Yeah.
But then we learn, and then we're seeing Mary's character like react to his story, and it hurts her, it wounds her deeply to the quick. But then
Hmm.
you find out what it is. Then we find out that they're an item, and only she knows the truth, and that
Yeah,
slowly
that's
develops
true.
and gets out. So that becomes a tragedy. And then the ending, it just the tone just switches over and becomes just like heart wrenchingly like just
Hmm.
um theme. So yeah, if you're going in for a comedy, you're leaving out feeling just like you go through the full gamut. It was one of those
Yeah,
really amazing films. Um,
it's true.
I this came out in 2008. This is one of the few. This is the movie, believe it or not, is what when that kind of just starts to destroy the DVD market. You know,
Hmm.
um, a month before, like if you had a Bravia, they had a strong promotion. If you had a Bravia back in 2008 and internet connection, they had video on demand. This is one of the first films that had like streaming. before it became
Okay.
a real thing. So for the first 2 weeks before it got onto Blu-ray or DVD, you can actually watch this in the comfort of your own home, like, and stream it.
Yeah.
And then it was released on to, like, I think it was for 2 weeks. Those who have Bravias can watch it on their big screen television, and that was the beginning of the end of the DVD of physical media. So that was like the litmus test for the market, and that kind of sort of like gave the, like if you go to CES or whatever, like that was sort of giving the gateway of this was the beginning of the end of physical media. So
Okay. Wow.
yeah, so that was one of the cool things about this movie. Um, Overall, I really didn't like I really did like this movie. I was sort of like, when I saw this in theaters, I had a sort of a mixed emotion, because I came out of this movie theater thinking, like, I didn't get what I wanted. I wanted a comedy or an action movie, like a superhero film. I got none of those, and but I was satisfied, as you were saying, because it was a tragic movie that has a kind of an uplifting um, experience, right?
Okay.
Uh, how was your feeling coming out of the theater? Did you have what was your like feeling when you walked out of the theater?
That they knew each other and they together.
But like emotion, like where were you? Did you leave out happy, excited? Were you like just like melancholy or just cerebral? Like, how were you feeling when you walked out of the theater? Because this is not the kind, for me. I'll tell you right now. I came in with a very strong like mental like state of thinking how this is going to be, and I was completely like, this subverted my expectations, right? So like, what was it for you?
It was sad for me because they still can't be together, although they were like brother and sister. Kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
But still happy for both of them because now they can be happy.
yeah.
Or yeah, yeah, I definitely liked it. It was sad, but still funny.
I liked it. I mean, here's the thing, because this is a slippery slope. Because in the end, I was more concerned for Ray, because he's the innocent out of all this,
Yeah.
and they both love him in their own way, so it works in the end.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then they work, and their family unit, because they have an adopted son. It actually ends on a happier note. You know,
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, they can't be together because of the situation, but like, it actually ends on the best possible scenario. So
Right.
yeah. Well,
Right.
with that, we'll end this off in a good scenario, because we're kind of going in a very, Debbie Downer here. I'm
Okay.
Ray.
I'm Evie.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah!